Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Steve with LRM. Today we're going to learn how to replace the ABS sensor for the rear axle. And the fun part is that it's almost like doing the brake job. And you probably will see a video just about that. But the fun part is you're going to need some fun tools. What we're going to need to do is safety, right? Wheel chocks and a jack stand. All right, just always remember, we don't want the truck to roll back and run us over, because that you can't finish your job when you ran over. Also, a jack stand. When you get the truck up in the air, you want to set it down. You don't want it to fall and lose some fingers. You probably see mechanics missing some. Also, you're going to need a BFH. I'm not going to tell you what a BFH is. You guys should know. If you don't and you think you know what it is, my friendly friends, leave a comment at the bottom and tell the other guys. And the other thing is a pry bar, because we're going to have to push out the sensor. Now, sometimes we can't get it out, and when in doubt, just replace the bracket and cut the wire. It's going to be a lot faster, and I'll tell you why. And the bracket's not even that much more, but we could talk more about that. Then you would just follow the wire going back underneath. You're going to need a pair of dikes or wire cutters, because you're going to be cutting zip ties along the way to unplug it and then feed it through. All right, it's very simple. The only tough part is just removing the tires and drums to access the ABS sensor. All right guys, so that was everything that you would need to start the ABS portion. Let's hop right into this. We need to fire up the truck to get the air pressure up over 100. So the best thing to do is get it to 120, and don't forget the safety wheel chocks under the tire. And right now I'm going to fire this truck up to get it up to 120, and then push in the parking brake so the drums can, the brakes can back off the drums, so I can get underneath the tool and back them off the rest of the way. So right now we're going to fire this bad boy up. If your air pressure is low and you need it to get it up there a little bit quicker, go ahead and push on the accelerate pedal up to 11 to 1200 RPMs and get it to 120, and then we're going to push in the parking brake valve. All right, now that I got the pressure at 120, I'm going to push in the parking brake valve. If you guys are not sure which one that is, it's going to be the yellow one for the tractor, not the one for the trailer. All right, and then go ahead and turn your truck off. So we're actually going to do the brakes on this left rear drive axle. And where I lift this up from is I lift it from the pumpkin, the differential right in the middle. And then I'm going to slide the jack stand under the axle that I'm going to do, which is going to be this left rear drive axle. And like I said, use a 20 ton. I'm using a 22 ton, but 20 ton, you can use it to lift up the truck. All right, I'm gonna get my jack out of there, and then I'm gonna get underneath the truck to back off the brakes from the drum. So I'm gonna grab my ratchet and my 7/16 socket. So now I'm underneath the truck, and again, using my 7/16 and a ratchet, I'm gonna put it right onto the slack adjuster, right? So if you're not sure which way to go, if you see where you don't hear any noise, like here, like you might feel a little clicking, and you see the brakes going towards the drum, go the other way. You're gonna hear a lot of clicking. Like that means you're backing them off. And right now, if you look at the drum, you'll see how it's the brake shoes, you'll see how it's close to the drum. What we're gonna do is back them off. So I'm gonna keep going until I can't turn anymore. And you'll see the difference. So now what we can do is you can probably see a gap in here. And I know you guys are saying these brakes don't need to be replaced. Believe it or not, all we're doing is using this as a test. So for you guys throwing comments saying you don't need to replace them, I'm just showing you guys that this is what we're doing today. We're just having fun on this truck. So we're not going to replace brakes on them, but I'm going to take them off just like you normally would have to, and then we're going to put them back on like you would, and we're just going to pretend that they're new brake shoes. Okay, guys? All right, guys. So just a quick reminder, remember wheel chocks, which I have here. All right, these are these bad boys. You don't want the truck to roll on you. The tires are free, just like that. I have a 1-inch impact gun with a 33 millimeter socket. And remember, lefty loosey, righty tighty. Once you get all the lugs off, you're gonna put them off to the side where you don't kick them, and you know where they're all at. Now you guys saw how the tire just dropped down. It doesn't do that all the time. So you may have to use your big BFH, AKA Big Thor. So you would get your big hammer, get in the position where you can hit on the inside of the tire so it can come off like this, all right? Once it pops forward, then all you gotta do is go back towards the front, push it up, so it's free. All right, now taking them off, for me, the easiest way is put your butt and your arms and lift up just like so, all right? And just put the tire out of your way. So same thing, sometimes this will get stuck and you can't get it off. You do the same thing with the big hammer and you hit it out. Or what you could do is grab your tire bar, you stick it right in the hole and you can just move it, right? You wanna work smart, not hard. All right, and once you get it loose, just slide it off. Now these tires are usually easier. All you gotta do is just pull and it's already on the ground. So this part I like, it's a little fun, especially if you're already mad at the end of the day. So to see how the drum, you can't get it off, we're gonna grab our big BFH. All right, hit here. All right, now, if you crack the drum, fine, replace it. Don't cry about it. It happens. But you're gonna come put a full swing, but hit here. All right? It will be loud. If you guys are frightened of that sound, put some earplugs in too. Lift with your legs, cradle it, put it out, just like that. So I like to use it as a seat. So when we have the drums, what we're gonna do is inspect it, right? You guys gonna see these cracks. That's normal. What's not normal is if you see a crack going all the way continuously, all right? These are heat cracks. If they're deep, right? Like for instance, this one I'd probably, I would be replacing this drum for sure because you have uneven wear. There's some pretty deep cracks in this one. So I would replace the drum. Again, this is just a practice truck. I'm not gonna go get a new drum, but just think of it completely surface free, you know, no grooves, no cracks, and it's black or gray. Pretend. So in the meantime, what you could do is turn it around like this, and now you have a seat. All right, here's your brake shoes. The easiest way for these, I'm gonna get a flathead screwdriver and a hammer. We're gonna put them right here and pry them out, and they'll pop right out. Like I said, right here, you're gonna put your flathead just in there, tap down, and pry out. It's that easy. That's one side. See how the other side came out? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And wherever you lay your tools, remember where you put them. I've done it before, back in the day, where I leave my tools. So what I do is I'll push down the bottom one, just like this, loosen it up, and then move this off to the side of the S-cam. All right, see how loose it is? Then you're gonna grab the top and peel it off. And there you go. That's how you take your brake shoes off. Right? This is a good time to check if you have a wheel seal leaking. If you see it wet, then there's furthermore, but this is pretty dry. We like that. Here's your ABS sensor, right? Dirty. And what I would want to do is get some brake clean all this up, right? Maybe hit that with a brush, get a nice good clean surface on it. Here's your S-cam. What you want to do is just make sure there's no flat spots on top, because if the roller gets stuck up here, what happens is then your brakes will lock up on you. So just make sure you have a nice good clean S-cam before you put the rollers back in them. All right guys, so remember we're replacing the rear ABS sensor. Once you get the tires and drum off, I got this last brake that we're gonna pull off, right? Here it is. And then once you get your drums and brake shoes off to the side, now you have full access to your ABS sensor, right? This is it right here, and it goes through this bracket. So here's the thing when it comes to this. See how, we don't know how long it's been there. And you can just, if this breaks or you can't get the sensor out, don't mess around with it that much. I mean, the bracket's probably anywhere between 30, maybe 50 bucks. And then just cut the wire and unbolt it, and you can install a new one with the sensor. So what we're gonna do is, if it does come out easy, I'm gonna get a flathead screwdriver real quick, and it should back out. And I'm gonna show you here, right? So what you wanna do is just go right in here. Just don't go too crazy, because you don't wanna damage your tone wheel. This is the tone wheel, right? See all the little notches here? So just don't start jabbing at it or prying. If you can back it up, see that one's not doing it. If it doesn't go there, just remember you're replacing it. What you can do is go at an angle, hit it, and then see if you can get it in between. In this instance, we're gonna replace the bracket and the ABS sensor, right? So this ABS sensor, the fastest method would be is cut this end here, because we're not gonna reuse it. and then follow the line, right? You have a little clamp here. That's gonna be a 3/8 socket. Be careful, if it breaks, it breaks. We can use a zip tie, or they have a push down one where you can put a zip tie, but put a little PB blaster, and then from the rest, it should be all zip ties. And all you gotta do is just cut them here, here, and here, right? And then you'll follow the line, and you'll see it goes on the brake line. They'll have clips, and sometimes maybe a technician, as you can see, put a zip tie here, cut the zip ties, keep the clips, right? Because when you put the new line, when you plug it in at the other end, you're gonna run your line all the way back, right? And when you put it, right, you wanna put the end piece in first. So I'm gonna grab a sensor real fast so you guys know what I'm talking about which end to feed through the hole. Found out what socket is that you gotta take the bolt and the nut off, right? So you got a 15/16, you're gonna need a socket and I say a long ratchet, you know, like a breaker bar. And then of course a wrench on the other side to hold it so you can break it free. This is the bracket, right? So see how, ooh, oh, nice and new, right? Now, I believe it or not, I have seen it where someone put the bracket in and it's not like this, like how you see it here. They have it the other way. If you have it the other way, it won't read the tone wheel, and then you gotta take everything back off. So the way you guys take off the bracket, just make sure you put it on the same way you took it off, all right? All right, so new bracket, new sensor. The new sensor, right, it'll come with this sleeve, right? And what you do is, you'll see two little notches right here at the ends. That's gonna go in this way, right? You just squeeze. It's very easy, just like that, until it's flush, right? I'm not gonna do it because, like I said, this is just a practice truck, right? What we're gonna do is, you push this in, just like so, and then they'll give you a little bit of lube, right? Little anti-seize. You're gonna apply it all around here, all right? So once you get the sensor into place, right, and bolt it back up, what you're gonna do is you're gonna spin your tone wheel. And what that's gonna do, it's gonna create a gap. And that's perfectly what you want. So rotate it maybe twice, and you should be good to go, all right? So what you would do is literally cut the end, so you don't waste time, off to the side, and then you can pull this one out, right? With the new sensor, right, you're gonna feed it through the hole this end, not this end, this end. All right, so like I said, not this end, you're gonna put the other end, wiggle it through. Once you get it all the way through, right, you're gonna feed it all the way through the area, get it all the way. And the sensor will be like this in your new bracket. You're gonna put everything along the clamp and then follow it. You don't want it everything tight, you know, just a little loose all the way to the connection point. And then what you do is, if you have a little bit more slack at the connection point, just make a loop like this, put two zip ties, plug in, zip tie, and secure everything along the way, okay? It's that easy, all right? Nothing hard here. The only thing it's time consuming is taking the tires, the brake shoes, and the drum off, all right, guys? And when in doubt, if you wanna just be fast about it, you could take it off. Like I said, it's a 15/16 socket. Get a wrench, a long breaker bar, break it free. Make sure that the bracket is in the same position that you took it off in. And that's it. You wanna make sure the sensor is gonna be reading the tone wheel. And just remember, when you have it all off, a little brake clean all the way around the tone wheel. See all those notches? If there's a piece of dirt or debris in there, it won't read right. You also wanna make sure there's no broken teeth, right? So if you see a big gap or somewhere bent, it's not gonna be the sensor. Well, you're gonna have to replace the sensor because it's probably damaged, but the tone wheel will be no good, all right? So just make sure everything's nice and clean and nothing's broken. That easy to replace the rear ABS sensor. All right, guys, just want to remind you again, I'm just using this truck just to show you guys how to do brakes. So I'm not replacing brand new brakes, but I'm going to tell you what comes in a box. For instance, this one here is actually a 4709 brake shoe, right? So the difference between that one and let's just say a 4707 is one, right? The little pole here, right? The little tab. So on a 4709, it would already be there. On a 4707, it won't. It'll be like a little crooked looking pole. And what you do is you're gonna feed it through, hold it down at one end, and use your hammer, right? You're gonna hold it like this and then bang it through until it's literally in the middle like this. And the whole point for this is to hold onto your big spring, right? So this is what keeps tension, to keep the brakes together. Usually we'll always have one big one and 2 small ones. Now they're not always gonna look like this. Like I said, this is for a 4709. It's gonna look like this. The other one will probably look like this, but a lot smaller. See the difference? A little bit smaller, right? The springs will be the same orientation, right? You're gonna have 2 on the outside and 1 in the middle. Also, it'll come with rollers. So this one, for the back part, you'll see that it'll have a big, wide mouth area because the pivot point on this one is part of the spider. And then on the 4707, you'll see like 1 roller like this, and you'll see 2 more that are a little bit thicker that will go through the spider. Those you want to replace. I just don't have one to show on this one. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of the brake shoes. It doesn't matter. You'll see the pole right in there. Put the 1 spring there and latch it onto the other, and you should be able to pick up your brake shoes like this. And what I'm going to do is bring it over to the truck to install them. Once you get the brake shoes laying over like this, right? I start out with the top part. You're gonna lay the top part over the S-cam, and you're gonna grab the bottom part so it goes underneath the S-cam. All right, guys, so once you get the brake shoes laid over, you'll see that the brake shoe is laying on top of the S-cam and underneath where you can put the rollers in, and the spring is on the one side of the S-cam. And then you'll see the back end onto the actual pivot points, right? Now, I've been doing this way for 24 years. It's the way I've been doing it. I know some of you guys may say, hey, there's an easier way. If there is, you know what? I don't mind learning. I love learning new stuff. Drop me a video, I'll watch it. But this is the way I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show you my way, and then if we can improve on it, I'm all ears. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down to my knee, right? And then I got my 2 springs, right? So once I get the spring on, this is where I get my vice grips. I think I had it prepared at one point. All right. So if you can't get in here because here, so do it from the top. So put this side on the bottom, clamp here on the top like this, squeeze. And then what you're gonna do is put your leg on this side to get it closer. Take your pry bar, and all you're gonna do is lift. Look at that, you're in. Now, if you ever see it like this, take the back end of your vice grips, tap it in. Now, your springs are all connected. So here's the roller, and it'll come with a spring. We'll put the spring on like this on the roller, just like so, right? Now the next part, we're gonna put it in here, and these little tabs will go in this hole here, right? And you do the same thing for the tab. Grab your pry bar. Doesn't matter which side you start, bottom or top. I'm gonna do the bottom, put the pry bar and push down. So I'm gonna leave the springs on the outward like this. Now if you see this, see how it's not close? So what happens is that the truck lost some air. Don't freak out, don't start the truck, just go back to the slack adjuster and adjust, right? So I'm gonna leave it like this, adjust the slack adjuster, and you're gonna see it pop right in the middle of here, and that's what we want. You guys should see the gap closing, right? There you go, it should be right there. All right, once you get it back where there's no gap here, push down just enough to get the spring, and you can see where the spring comes through the hole, and you do it on both sides. And then what happens is this stops from the roller from ever hopping out by accident and keeps everything nice and tight. And then you just do the same thing on the top, just like so. And again, guys, watch your fingers. Put it in, just like that. You may have to just leave a little bit of tension. There you go, see, went in there. All right, guys, so we're gonna get the drum back on here. Remember, lift with your legs, not with your back, right? So make sure you have a good squat. We're gonna lift the drums. I like to hug it and then bring it over. All right, once you get it on there, you can relax. Kneel down to your knees, all right? And just do a little lift and then slide. You gotta orient the studs with the holes and then just do a small lift and you should be on. Easy peasy, right? The next step would be putting the tires on. So I'm gonna grab my tires. All right, so you're gonna grab your tires. Just remember, if you forget which one it is, inside tire is always gonna be the dirtiest side, right? And don't forget your tire bar or a big pry bar. What I normally do is I roll it up and you lean the tire at an angle, right? And you just walk it towards the hub, just like so. And you can always double check, lift up. That's what you wanna see. The where the hub is just here in the rim. Because what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna kneel down, put my left foot underneath the tire, pry bar up, so I can lift it onto the hub. So right in the middle, just like that. And I got lucky, first time shot. Once you have the studs light on, you just put your knee here, tilt, and all you wanna do is just get it flush. I put both knees, push in, there you go, all right? Now the next one, we're gonna grab the outside tire. Now, I did say the wheel, but this one's a little dirty, but you saw the difference. The other one was a lot darker than this, and you do the same thing, you tilt it towards you, and you walk it, right? And what you wanna do is just like so. You'll see the rim just below the hub. Now here's the other thing, right? Look at your valve stems. You want them literally opposite from each other. You want them as close as opposite, right? I have this one on the bottom, I have valve stem on the top. And that's just so you can make sure you have your air connection. So before you put on your tire, make sure once you put it on that you can see the valve stem on the inside, because it's gonna suck if you have to take it back off just to realign it. But do it from opposite side from each other. Same thing, foot and lift and push, just like so. And then, remember how I kept the lugs out of the way? Look how convenient they are right next to me. And you just start putting them on. What you should do is, and I know I didn't do it, clean the studs with a wire brush and put a little bit of oil on the tip and then put them on. And always get them hand started. I've seen other technicians just put them on with a gun, and that's where you make mistakes and cross thread it. Get quite a few turns in it, so at least you know that you get past any kind of burrs of metal, and you know you're not gonna cross thread it, right? Now that I got all the lugs on, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start on one side and on the other, and then you're gonna do it as a star pattern. Once you have all the lugs tight in the star pattern, then I normally go around one more time. So I'm gonna show you guys that right now. All right guys, so you remember when we're gonna tighten down on the lugs, remember lefty loosey, righty tighty. I'm gonna start on the top and then go on the bottom, right? So I'm gonna just get them started. So once I get the star pattern done, like I told you guys, I'm gonna go one more all the way around. So just remember where you left off. So if you need to, mark a spot or here, so I know where I left off, right? And that's where I left off. As you can see, I put a little mark here, so I knew that's where I started and that's where I ended. So guys, just also remember, once you tighten these tires, within 50, no more than 100 miles, you need to go to a shop or maybe a buddy that you might know and just retighten them, because sometimes the lugs will get a little loose, all right? Even though it's torquing down to 450 to 500 foot-pound, just always double check to get them rechecked by torquing them down one more time, all right? Because everything will eventually start settling. So that is the way you tighten up the tires. The next step is adjust the brakes, right? So I know we did one side. What I normally do is, if I do one side, I'm gonna adjust the brakes for the entire axle just to make sure they're equally the same. So now the last thing we gotta do is adjust the brakes. But also, I did skip one little step. I did double check, but make sure that your air system is still above 100 PSI, right? So we can adjust the brakes. So if they are, then adjust. If they are not, go ahead and air up the truck. And if you guys remembered, I had to adjust the brakes because I was losing a little air, but I did fire it up just to be a little quick because it is hot. So we aired it up above 100. So it's at 120, and now I'm gonna adjust the brakes. What we're gonna do is make sure that the pad touched the drum all the way, right? And then I'm gonna back off a half a turn, all right? And I'm gonna do the same thing for the other side so they're equally the same. You guys should see the brakes going in, where I can't do any more, and then a half a turn. And that's it. All right guys, so like I was telling you, for this slack adjuster, I was using a 7/16 socket and a ratchet. Your slack adjuster may not have it. You may need this tool, right? One is gonna be, it's gonna look like a square peg, right? And then it's gonna look like another one just nearby or off the side or on the back. Should look like a little disc, right? See the little fork? You put that in, it's called a paw. You want that out so you can back off the brakes, all right? If you're adjusting them in, you really don't need it, but to back them off, you have to use this to pry it out and then use the other tool, all right? But this is the tool I wanted to mention that you may need for your slack adjuster when doing brakes. All right guys, so after getting the tires on and the brakes, right, and adjusting them, you may still have an ABS light on, which that may happen, What the next thing you need to do is at least test drive the truck, going at least a minimum of 5 miles an hour, and the light should go out. Once the light's out, then you have Eureka. You have fixed the problem. All right, guys? All right, guys, so we just finished up with the ABS. The first thing I get to say before I leave is remember, push that sensor up to the tone wheel, because if you don't, then you put it back on, then you gotta take everything off again just to push that sensor in. So remember, push that sensor up to the tone wheel, and once the truck starts rolling, it will back off completely on its own. It is fine. If you guys had anything or questions about what you saw, don't forget to leave a comment at the bottom. If you guys liked the video, please pound that like button. If you guys want to learn more fun stuff like this, getting more in depth in the truck, guys, subscribe. I want you to be watching this and saving money. See you guys around at the next video.